For me, it was always the story of the snake. When the water gets to your ankle, everybody's like, get out, that's enough water for you. We grow up with this fear that there's something in the water and at any point it could take you. We get on the boat goes out, you jump out onto the water, and then I start freaking out. I'm drowning, somebody save me, I am drowning. It's very difficult for us to give meaning to things that we don't understand, especially in the space of water. It's a question of how do we re-look at this whole narrative. My name is Zandile Ndhlovu and I'm a 32-year-old from South Africa. So I grew up in Soweto, which is very far from the sea. Like a lot of us growing up, you know, we don't really come across the sea until that one trip that happens when you get closer to the ocean. The myths around the ocean growing up have always been about a big snake that takes little children. As the water pulls in, when the waves are crashing and pulling the water in, and if any of the kids didn't make it out, the snake took them. My grandmother will say, Umnumzan is out, and that means that the big snake is out and everyone must be careful.
I mean, growing up as black young people was impossible. Like, a pool was daunting. A normal swimming pool was daunting.
My whole life, I've always felt like I don't fit in. Never finding home in the spaces where I was at. My corporate experience was interesting. It felt uncomfortable because there was a box. I didn't want to sit in the woman box. I didn't want to sit in the black box. I didn't want to sit in any box. I just wanted to live my heart out in the way that I've always lived my heart out. In 2016, I was going through a little bit of a hard time in my life. It was a little bit of a rattle at the end of my marriage. And I decided to go to Bali. I was riding my bicycle down to breakfast and I heard this guy saying, snorkel trip, snorkel trip. And I mean, I'd always wanted to go on a snorkel trip, but it had never happened. And so I signed up and the guy gave me my mask and snorkel fins and that was that. And we jump out into the water. As I watched the dive master at the bottom of the ocean, I took out my snorkel and I dived down to the bottom. And I was with him, picking up these shells and looking at him. And I'll never forget the feeling. There was this place that existed that was for me. I had never in my life been more at home. And then I come across this video and I'll never forget it because I thought, what kind of witchery is this? These three girls are on the top of the water and they just dive in, right? And they're swimming along the reef. They don't have cylinders on their backs. And I just thought, what the hell is going on? So then I obviously go onto my laptop to find out what it is. And I found out that that was freediving. You dive into space and you're just by yourself and all that surrounds you is just a beauty and a peace like you've never known. And you're free from what is to come. You're free from what has happened. All there is the now. The brain relaxes. It's not thinking about the many things that it does. There's nothing else that matters than that moment. The first in every single reaction is shock. You know, everyone will say, but that's white people stuff. But it's accessible to everybody. And the idea that water sports have always been white sports is incorrect. And we have a responsibility to kind of change that. Becoming the first Black freediving instructor is not an individual achievement. I think it's a country's achievement because it talks about opportunity and access and the ability to dream even from where we come from. So I decided to start the Black Mermaid Foundation because, one, there is a present fear when it comes to water, when it comes to Black and brown people. I wanted to create a safe space to have discussions and how does that open up opportunities. These are spaces that are largely untransformed in South Africa. The Black Mermaid Foundation was so much bigger than being a freediving instructor. It wasn't about that. It was saying, how do we go back and change the narrative and allow people to dream bigger? It's not just, about the freediving aspect. It's not just your work. It's how you show up everywhere. You just need to be present enough to realize, to just take a breath. The obstacles that I had to go over is a lot of mind stuff. Detaching from the fears of deep waters, detaching from the fear of the unknown, and somehow finding what it truly means to be present. Could the snake be there? I don't know, but what I am is me, and I'm here, and all there is the present. Freediving has taught me that the ocean is an alive creature, and for me, as I go into the waters, I arrive here not with fear, but with respect.